Build compelling real-time apps quickly and scale them globally with the PubNub real-time network. Only PubNub delivers the core building blocks needed for any real-time application. Find out for yourself by signing up for free today. Visit pubnub.com. Welcome to This Week in Location-Based Marketing, the most trusted podcast dedicated to the new business of location. It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. This is episode number 150. We're recording this live Friday, October 4th, 2013. My name is Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv, located in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And with me, as always, for all 150 consecutive episodes, partner in crime.
It's Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association.
150, Asif. Where are the trumpets? Is this just now so much part of the routine that we don't even celebrate little milestones?
We're almost at 3 years. We'll celebrate at 3 years.
That's right. So we'll kind of a little something like that for 150.
We'll get out the cupcakes with 3 candles. And we'll make it happen.
Yes. Well, that'll be, what is that? That's 156, right? If I do my math correct?
Yeah.
2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. My goodness, 6 more weeks, and that's 3 years being stuck together in this little box. Right? Maybe the vantage points have changed.
It's an awesome box, though, Rob. I wouldn't want to be with anybody else.
Oh, man, Asif. You're making me blush. Oh. All right, we have a busy week. Again, some crazy stories. But before we move into any of these, from what I gather, the event in New York City, the activity was fierce on Twitter, and the event in Toronto was fierce again. Talk about these. Give us a quick summary of what went down.
Yeah, so we had 2 events this week. We had an event, LBMA chapter events, New York and Toronto. The New York event was awesome. We had a great turnout. AT&T hosted it at their lab facility, the AT&T AdWorks lab facility, which is just cool by itself because it's got like technology coming out of the wazoo everywhere. And David Polinchuk from AT&T kind of gave a presentation and talked about some of the stuff. And he had estimates floating around. He had stuff everywhere. I mean, it was cool.
All the stuff we talk about.
There's a pool table in there that they had at South by Southwest that is now in this office. And it's got Microsoft Connect devices mounted above the pool table that's tracking the balls as you shoot and when they go in. I mean, it's just crazy stuff, man. But yeah, so great venue. Thanks to AT&T for hosting that. The discussion was great too. Lots of questions. And it's always great when you have that combination of technology people on the panel. So we had PlaceIQ on there, talking about metrics, obviously, and we had the Jets and Ralph Lauren and just interesting stuff. And I guess one thing that really struck me at that event was the Ralph Lauren guy, Mark Wales in particular, really brought a unique angle because he's not a digital mobile guy per se. He's an enterprise workforce optimization technology type of guy, right? And so, we were able to talk a lot about, we can put all these coupons and platforms and location-based stuff in, but, the human factors are always the limiting factor. And he was able to kind of bring light to all the other issues around, how do we actually communicate to the employees and to the staff on what to do and consistency and around these things. So that was a neat angle to hear coming from the panel, which was really interesting. And then in Toronto last night, we had a great event that was kind of focused on NFC and digital out of home and the mashup between those things with TapTrack. David, who was on our guest a few weeks ago. We had Weston Expressions with their Blinkit platform. We had a gal from the Canadian Olympic Committee. We had a digital lead from Edelman. So we had, marketers and we had technology. And again, that mashup was really interesting to kind of see the mix and hear from the technology side what they were doing and where they were going. And it was challenging. I mean, because both of these guys, have invested in NFC. And as we know, Apple ain't supporting it and doesn't plan to. So it's a limiting factor. And I challenged them straight up about it. And, there were some good responses. There was great dialogue with the audience. So just good event last night as well. And then next week, so this week coming up, we've got, there's the Place Conference, first of all, on Tuesday. Greg Sterling and his whole group at Opus Research and all of that. So if you're in an indoor location, if you're involved in that at all, this is a one-day, full-day conference on indoor with every major player in the room. You got to be there. Discount code available on the LVMA site. Check that out. And the next day, the LVMA San Francisco chapter, we're having an event on retail, similar to what we've done in Toronto and New York this past week, with some great speakers as well. We've got retail agents sponsoring that and keynoting it. And then we've got Mara Lewis. And we haven't talked about Mara Lewis on the show for like 2 years. So she runs a company called Stopped.act, if you remember that, when I brought it up a couple of years ago. So Stop.act is like Foursquare for websites. Like you check into a site, there's loyalty, all that kind of stuff. So she's going to be on the panel and kind of bring that online perspective as well. So I'm excited.
It sounds like it's almost like it's too much. It's too much to take in, right? And you should be filming these damn things, Asif.
Well, every once in a while something get filmed. You
should just make it part of the package that only members get to see it. But because they're so valuable, like the response, we had Dave Shalaby on as a guest a couple of weeks ago, right? And from TapTrack, and then the whole interview went up last week onto Untether.tv, and the response has been great. And I called it like NFC, the Billy Bean of the mobile world, because it's like such great promise. And if you know who Billy Bean is, he's now the Oakland A's general manager, but and played famously by Brad Pitt in Moneyball. He had such promise as a rookie and then never materialized into this great player. He was number one draft, and he just floated around and never, ever became a Major League Baseball player, a prominent Major League Baseball player. And I wonder if that's the case for NFC. So that's my Billy Bean baseball reference.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. So.
Yeah, we're gonna start. With our mobile minute from Chuck Martin very quickly. He talks about mobile payments. He's always mentioned this, that there's a mobile payments life cycle, right? And it used to be that you'd walk out your door, or you do your research at home, and then you'd walk out your door and go directly to the store and buy it. And now, because of mobile, because of location and proximity and all these other things, there is no direct straight line from research to buying at a retail store. There's so many things, intersections along the way, and that's what we're going to talk about here on the Mobile Minute with Chuck Martin. Welcome back to another Mobile Minute. Chuck, we have often talked about this whole mobile payments throughout the course of a day, the transactions that happen throughout the day. That is the way that we should be looking at it, as part of our lives, not just hard stops at the transactions, right?
That's exactly right. There's really a full cycle in mobile commerce. At the recent OMO's online media marketing advertising, at the OMO Mobile Conference in New York, Monkey Wu, who is the Executive Vice President of Mobile Industry Alliances at MasterCard, he basically laid out the MasterCard vision for what commerce looks like. And interestingly, it involves a whole scenario. It's not just really the payment. So a woman gets a smartphone, downloads a banking app, for example, so she can make payments. Next morning, her son needs cash. For school, she transfers the money phone to phone. Shortly thereafter, she's at a coffee shop. She pays by phone. Then to basically using the phone for sharing a bill at lunchtime. Based on a previous purchase, she gets a coupon, receives a message, and then cashed in the coupon. And she also gets a message that her son used the mobile cash at school. So this is really about a holistic sort of, it's really a cycle. And the way MasterCard and Monkey Wu look at this as, it's really not about the transaction at the end. It's about the entire experience all the way through the mobile shopping life cycle.
Seems that these transactions are small, like the little ones where you don't have enough change for the cup of coffee, you don't have the $5 to give to your kids. Is that where this is going to start?
Well, that's the interesting part of this. We don't know. I mean, we know in other countries that small payments are really successful from a mobile device. We're going to see if that behavior comes here. But the capability will be here. The question is, does the behavior follow? And I guess we'll just have to see.
And that's Chuck Martin and our Mobile Minute. That is actually a preview, in fact, of the one. It'll be up this week, but it has not even gone live yet. So there you go. That's why, for you guys who are listening to this at the early part of the week or watching this at the early part of the week, you get a little bit of bonus right there, a little bit of inside information. You're smarter now than the people who won't see that until later on in the week. So we appreciate Chuck Martin for doing that and letting us use it on This Week in Location-Based Marketing. So before we jump into our app of the week, I got to tell you, of course, that we have our 6 great stories this week. Big brands, big carrier news from Rogers that we may have slipped a little bit a couple of weeks ago. right, Asif? And of course,
Yeah.
got our special guest of the week. And this week it is Jonathan Treiber, who is the CEO of RevTrax. It's a very cool, it's a segment of a longer interview that I do that'll be up in a couple of weeks on Untether.tv. And of course, our resource of the week, which is an infographic on mobile commerce is growing. And I think that we all know that mobile commerce is growing. Some great statistics that we'll pull up. But first, before we get into the stories, we got our great app of the week. I'm going to play this video. We're going to come back. This app is called Memoir. It's all the rage right now. And we're just going to give a quick glimpse about what it is. It's about a minute long, this video, and then we're going to come back and discuss it.
The moments of our lives pass us by in the blink of an eye. They get tucked away into the past and are easily forgotten. But what if these memories didn't have to be lost and could be remembered at just the right moments? What if these memories could live with us and piece themselves together, seamlessly connecting us while answering the questions we had forgotten to ask, and reconnecting us with the people we care about? With Memoir, every one of our memories could be at our fingertips. After all, memories aren't just meant to be stored away. Memories are meant to be discovered.
So Memoir came out, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and I remember downloading it 2 weeks ago and playing around with it, and it took forever. I mean, what it does is you link it up to your social networks, your Twitter account, your Facebook account, your Foursquare account, your photos and all that, and then it basically sucks them into it looks like a Facebook stream of memories. And, it kind of goes back as long as you've been using these services. But I think it took almost 10 days for it to, it's so busy. It took 10 days for it to index it and get notification that all of my memories over the last 5 or 6 years have been brought into this one application. And then what you basically do, just like the video says, is that you're streaming through your memories. And as you go through it surfaces, what happened on this day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and then the new memories you created today. So 1 year ago today, I'll tell you where I was. I was in Thunder Bay. Right? There's my memory.
Nice.
I was in Thunder Bay. And what's great about it is that if we were sharing a memory at a place, like we're in New York and we're hanging out, or San Francisco and hanging out, and we both take photos and we're both using Memoir and we're both connected somehow through Facebook or Twitter or something like that, it would know that, and it would say, hey, listen, Asif has memories that are waiting for you in the same location at the same time, in the same place. So would you like to see them, or would you like to share them with whoever you were with? And I like that. It's got a little bit of that flock piece to it, a little bit of location, context, time, day, social, everything that we talk about here.
Yeah, for me in particular, the time and place pieces are really interesting.
Yeah.
That ability to just kind of pull it together and be able to, enable you to effectively search and query, vast quantities of photo data, but bring a context around it, based on, a specific moment or time or event or whatever the case might be. I mean, there's lots of photo services out there that, let you, when you upload your photos to iPhoto, you can tag them by events and all that kind of stuff.
It's not unique. It's pretty cool.
But I think it's the simplicity of the way that this works for me in terms of it automatically indexing and creating these by moments, and that ability to just look back and say, okay, as you just did, where was I a year ago today? What was I doing? And as I've told you many times on the show, like for me, even like Foursquare as a service, I still use it. I still check in everywhere, and the use case for me is to go back and look and say, what was the name of that restaurant I was at 3 weeks ago in Atlanta? What was, so that's where I think these things make a lot of sense, and so I like it.
Yeah, and it just reminds me that on September 29th, which was this past Sunday, I was in Cincinnati watching the Cincinnati Reds play the Pittsburgh Pirates.
There you go.
Yes. It's at yourmemoir.com. You can download it. I think it's iOS only. I have no clue how these guys are going to make a dime. But you know what? In the world of apps, I don't think you need to make a dime. Look at Q, that was just rumored to be bought by Apple for anywhere between $30 and $60 million. And Q basically mined your email address, for meetings, and automated that process. So goodness gracious, Memoir probably doesn't need to make any money to get acquired, and make some good pocket change for their customer base.
Instagram didn't make any money.
No, I know. Well, they're about to.
Yeah.
And that's not even on the agenda. Instagram and ads, man. Oh, make me barf. But that's the reaction I have, is that I use Memoir, I use Instagram, and I want to use it, and I don't want to pay for it. But then when they put ads in it, I feel kind of bile building up in my back of my throat. So, yourmemoir.com. It's a very well put together app. I like this a lot. It's nice. Who knows if I'll use it? That's the key. So that's our app.
But for now, it's good.
For now, for today, just like everything else, tomorrow, can't predict it, but probably not going to be using it as of tomorrow. Yeah. All right. That's our app of the week, yourmemoir.com, or download it in the App Store. All right, on to our 6 stories. Asif, we're going to launch here with something that maybe was, there was a scoop on this show 2 weeks ago. Asif scooped this, didn't you?
I did.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Alistair, I've already apologized to you. But anyways, we're happy to talk about it now.
Now it's true.
So Rogers, one of the big 3 carriers up here in Canada where you and I live, announced this week Rogers Alerts, which, is based on the Placecast technology. It's geo-targeted SMS, and a welcome addition to the lack of services, location-based services that we've had in Canada, and that I've been frustrated for 4 or 5 years now that we haven't had this stuff. So it's here. It's one carrier. It's Rogers for now. Hopefully the other guys join the game soon and participate. But this is great, and Rogers, has about 9.5 million customers, I think, on the network.
Yeah.
So this is opt-in. So they're, if you're a Rogers customer, you have to agree to receive alerts. You define categories of brands and things that you care about, and that's what you get. They've got some great brands on board for the initial launch here. So they got Sears Canada, Future Shop, which is part of Best Buy, Pizza Hut Canada, A&W, Second Cup, which is the number 3 coffee chain here in Canada. So some good brands to kick this thing off, and exciting times. So and for those that are referencing, this is the same solution that AT&T has with Shop Alerts in the U.S. or O2 has with Priority Moments in the UK, etc.
And we've been talking about priority moments for a couple of years now, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's the frustration about this, is it's finally up in Canada. And for Canadian residents or Rogers subscribers, you get $5 off your next wireless bill if you sign up and stay enrolled for at least $30. So for the next $30, for the next 30 days, if you stay enrolled for the next 30 days, you get $5 off your wireless bill. It's an interesting incentive, and it's worthwhile checking out. And as we say, we've said this from day one, is that this is the carrier's domain. They know where you are. They have the reach, 9.5 million customers on the Rogers network. And you got to marry the reach with those customers and brands, and here's the perfect opportunity. So a long time coming, I agree. Did you sign up for this?
I have. Yeah. I've been waiting for it. I'm a Rogers customer.
No, I don't believe in that shit, right?
I'm going to try it out. First of all, I think, we have big challenges in Canada as a market around location-based services in general.
Yeah.
Because, even if you take a solution like Foursquare, and not to hammer on Foursquare, but the penetration rates for these things are small. I mean, the market is small compared to the U.S. and other markets, right? Overall, I mean, we only have 35 million people in the country. So, but when you look at Foursquare's user base, which is 35 million people globally, it's a small fraction of those users that are in Canada. So, as an advertiser, as a brand, as a marketer, who wants to use location, trying to get the reach that you want on a thing like Foursquare in Canada isn't going to do it for you. You have to, aggregate Foursquare with Facebook and Google and a whole bunch of platforms to get the numbers that you want. So enter the carriers, and all of a sudden now you've got, a third of the population with one carrier potentially available to you. No smartphone required because it's SMS, it's all phones. So that's what I like about this ubiquity of being able to reach a large audience from a marketer's perspective. So,
yeah, no arguments here. It's a long time coming. It's a long time coming. And you're right about Foursquare. I mean, no matter how much I try in Canada, I've never been part of a swarm. Yeah, because they don't happen, right? But they happen in San Francisco's airport.
They happen, or anywhere in New York. Yeah, but anyhow, so that's sort of part one of Rogers.
Yeah, Rogers has been busy.
Yeah, they've been busy. So the week before this announcement, they announced another partnership with Sprint that we didn't talk about last week. So I thought, because we're already talking about them, I'll bring this in this week. So this is now where the car becomes a connected device, like you and I have been talking about. Like it seems like every show, but this is happening in Canada now. You can buy this service, and basically you have this little device that's monitoring the health of the vehicle. So it's tracking, all these factors around the car. Is it low on oil? Do the tires need, do you need new set of tires because there's wear? All this kind of stuff. And what it's doing is it's feeding this data live in real time to, your car dealership, the manufacturer, to other interested retail parties that might be able to sell you something. So if the tires are wearing, you will get a push notification effectively into the car that says, hey, you know what? You're 2.2 kilometers away from the dealership. You might want to stop in and get a new set of tires because your tires are on the way out. So, it's that kind of proactive messaging based on health data coming out of the vehicle, which is really interesting. And so that's available for managers as well.
Yeah, there was a little study done by Telefonica Digital that says about 10% of the cars have a built-in internet or built-in connectivity. Now, and by 2020, they're talking about 90% of the cars. And my assumption is that the other 10% that don't have it are 10-year-old cars.
They're in Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Because the connected car is going to be, it's another dashboard. And certainly, why wouldn't this happen? And happen quickly. So no surprise there. Roger's been busy. I like that.
Yeah, and just quick sidebar, because it's not on the agenda today, because we're talking about push notifications.
Yep.
Our good friends at Xtify.
Oh, yeah, Josh.
Josh and company over there were acquired by IBM, the whole IBM Smarter Commerce group. So they're joining that team. So congrats to those guys. It just says, geo-targeted push notifications and push notifications in general are big and happening, and big companies like IBM are wising up to it too.
Josh, yes, he's been on he's been a guest a couple of times on Untether.tv and a guest here a couple of times as well. So congratulations, Josh and the Xtify team. All right. Our second story is about baseball. It's about iBeacon and baseball. I love baseball. It's the best time of the year right now, because right now, today, when we're filming this, there are 4 baseball games on. Like from 1 o'clock.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It is incredible. I just have it always on MLB, and I use the MLB.tv application, MLB.com. Yeah. And they always have this thing, which is at the park, MLB at the park. And it allows you to check in. It does all those kind of things. But now they're starting to leverage iBeacon. And you're going to see this much more next season. They had it at Citi Field, which is the home of the New York Mets, not the Yankees, but Citi Field, where they had iBeacon around the stadium. And it was basically a little bit of information gathering. So, I'm going to play a quick video here from CNET that kind of walks you through what they're doing. But it is this is going to be the future of iBeacon. You're going to see this in every stadium: hockey, football, soccer, baseball. You're going to see this at rock concerts. This is just the beginning. So keep that in mind when you're watching this video. This is from CNET. So we didn't produce this. I just want this is a CNET video. We're about to roll this here.
The ballpark experience involves hot dogs, peanuts, and Cracker Jacks, but now it also involves your smartphone. Major League Baseball's At the Ballpark app has new features coming out next year where you could take your smartphone around to different parts of the park and get pop-ups based on beacons. This is all part of iOS 7 iBeacon technology. These beacons around the park are sending out Bluetooth signals, so when I walk around, I'm going to get different messages. And when I enter, I just got a Welcome to Citi Field message. Every stadium has different points of interest, and here at Citi Field, it tells me to walk near the home run apple to learn more about it. Now in this example, I walk in, my ticket was just scanned, and I just got a pop-up for $2 off a hot dog. Now this is just a demo because here it's rewarding my first time at Citi Field, but if I came on the 10th time, I might get something different. And different stadiums will probably offer different things. It's all up to each stadium. Here at the Mets merchandise store, there's a beacon in here as well, and I just got a pop-up for 20% off. Major League Baseball is working with different stadiums to determine where these beacons are going to be located, but you can expect to start to see them in 2014. And yes, they are talking about putting this on Android phones as well. But for now, it's just another way to enhance your experience at the ballpark. At Citi Field, I'm Bridget Curie for CNET.
So that's a perfect example. I couldn't say it any better than she did around a great demonstration of what iBeacon can do in a baseball diamond. Just very simple, pushing deals for merchandise or food, and then giving a little bit more information about the stadium and the lore and the history of it. I mean, I think this is just the beginning. You're going to see this everywhere. And again, that was a CNET video. I don't want to take credit for it because they did such a great job with it. Why recreate the wheels? So that's a CNET video. It's great.
And
very
this
cool.
is just amazing. I mean, this is what the potential for iBeacon is really all about, and Apple's understanding and investment in location. I mean, Apple is all over this stuff. This is why they don't need NFC. This is the ability to just bring
on
content
device.
in context based on where you are all the time on device, right? It's amazing. So whether it's baseball or it's a museum or wherever you are, I think this is where we're going to see huge innovation.
So you think
and baseball's not the only one doing this. They've already got I was reading the special. They've already got Starbucks testing this with them. This is Apple I'm talking about. Macy's is testing this. American Airlines is testing this. So you're going to see some interesting stuff in there. And this is all using the Estimo type low energy Bluetooth devices. So
I think it's now you got to start to think about the consequences of this, or the think about the commerce implications, where you've got your fingerprint scanning on the bottom, digital goods, MLB. The application is amazing, but think about what you can do with it. They can create new digital products, scan your fingerprint to buy product through all of a sudden it just opens up the world, and this is an enabler.
Think about using iTunes to pay for your hot dog.
Well, it's exactly what's going to happen.
Right. I mean, we don't need all these digital wallets that everybody's trying to talk about, right?
Well, they're too complicated.
Yeah, it's already there.
They're too complicated, and iTunes, Apple has 380 million credit cards on file.
I know, it's crazy.
On file, and your fingerprint on file.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's good.
So Citi Field is just the beginning, we think, and this is going to be massive, massive, massive. And watch, you mark our words. We're going to do a prediction show again this year, and my prediction, I'm telling you right now, is the proliferation of iBeacon and the fact that it's going to lead to a very fluid commerce transaction anywhere you go.
Agreement on that.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
So, yeah.
All right, jump into our third story.
So this comes to us from Denver, our friends over at Placeable, formerly known as Location Insights. These guys have launched a thing called Placeable Plot. So what it is it's a cloud-based kind of service that basically takes feeds in from Google and Facebook and Foursquare and Yelp and all that kind of stuff, and then does a data visualization of all these things that are important to your business. And really, it's about making sure that the data is clean and accurate. But by being able to visualize that, you're able to move things around and adjust and say, we're a bank, and that ATM, according to what's showing up on this map, it says it's on that corner, but it's actually on the opposite corner of the street. And so things like that, is what becomes interesting here. When you can visualize data, it's much easier to make adjustments and correct the problems and inefficiencies in that data.
Yeah, I mean, and the great thing about this is that you can correct it. So you correct the location, and then it does it across all the platforms. So you correct it once, and then it does it across the platforms. And I think,
awesome.
Yeah, that's a great technology for me. Is that dirty data is bad, and we've gone through that many times in these episodes. But dirty data is bad, and it has an impact on your business. So make sure you own your location. It's just that simple. Just that simple.
Love it. So check out Placeable Plot from Placeable.
Those are the first three stories. Great stories, but we're going to roll into our guest. We've got Jonathan Treiber, who is the CEO of RevTrax. An interview that I did just recently. It'll be up in a couple of weeks on Untether.tv. We had a 1 hour long conversation around location and its impact on retail and what people can do to drive footfall, and are coupons real, and what about coupons and the discrepancy between, the increase in spend when people bring a digital coupon versus a printed coupon. I mean, it's a great episode, and I've had to extract a little bit from that episode as well as I could to talk about location-based marketing and the way that he and RevTrax view location-based marketing. He's an LBMA member, and this is it was a great episode. Opened up my eyes to some really simple, nuanced things that retailers are doing right now to drive footfall, drive sales when they're in the store, and where actually Jonathan sees this industry going in the next year. I did not ask 3 years. I did not ask 5 years out because nobody knows what that looks like. So what he's focusing on the year. But right now we're going to talk about his view on location-based marketing, and I think it's fascinating. So here's Jonathan Treiber.
Our viewpoint is that there are two things that have changed the current landscape of retail. One is Amazon, and one is mobile, and they're somewhat related, but they are very separate, and there are trends that are changing the way consumers are buying and the way that consumers are engaging with information. And mobile is that that on-the-go device that really digitizes or has the opportunity to digitize the very analog in-store shopping experience. And Amazon, of course, is the 800-pound gorilla that competes effectively on price, where you can basically buy from Amazon on the go on your mobile phone or via the web for a much cheaper price. So our business is really catering to that integrated retail marketplace where Amazon is pure play e-commerce, and we don't actually cater to the Amazons of the world. And we feel that actually the retail model that will win the day is an integrated retail model where you have a physical retail presence, but it is tightly integrated with e-commerce and mobile commerce in a way that is consistent, which nobody really is doing well today. And that is one of the biggest issues, and why Amazon as a pure play is giving every retailer a run for their money because of the siloed nature of retail. But for us, it's about that mobile engagement, mobile customer. Mobile has created all of these interstitial stops along the way to the purchase journey, where now it's at least measurable. And without mobile, the real situation was all the digital engagement happened at your home, and then you went to the store, and marketers didn't know anything in between.
Right.
And now marketers have the opportunity to learn almost everything in between, and that's one of the big reasons that mobile's been so disruptive, and I think is a huge part of our business. From a promotion standpoint, and location based is a killer theme here for our business, and I'm happy to get into that and how we think about that.
You brought up so much. I love this because I think about that statement that you said is that from the consumer standpoint, from our standpoint, 5.5 years ago, before 2007, we'll say. I mean, I carried a BlackBerry, I had a Palm Pilot, a connected device, whatever you want to call it, but really, you're right. I made a decision here, sitting in front of my screen, and then I made the buy decision, and I either bought there because e-commerce was around at that point. We're not talking dinosaur era. And then I would get in my car and I would drive to the store and I would pick it up from that store that I just saw it here, right? Wherever it was, I would go and get it. So that's the old way. But now I've done my research on here. I'm either buying it online or I'm driving to a store that I'll pick it up later. Maybe I'll go down to Best Buy or whatever it might be. And in between the time that I leave and the time that I actually step foot in Best Buy, there are many interaction opportunities for other brands to go and steal that money from Best Buy and bring me into the store. That is a huge thing that are a lot of companies, building this into their marketing philosophy.
Well, it's a fun topic of conversation. I can tell you the answer is mostly no, and it depends. The mostly no is that the world of location-based marketing is something that brands understand from a holistic standpoint and why it's valuable for them to reach their customer. And location-based marketing, of course, has the opportunity to provide competitive marketing, which is what you articulated. Right, so it's the stealing or the competitive targeting of offer to consumer, and people will use Lowe's and Home Depot. I know I'm going to Home Depot, so Lowe's hits me with a targeted GPS message, and I get compelled to drive to Lowe's. But frankly, what I've seen is marketers being more resistant to that type of marketing because it actually can backfire. And the way that it backfires is very simple. That what they're trying to do is it's disruption marketing, which a lot of digital marketers will claim is on the way out in today's day and age. And ultimately, what you're doing is potentially targeting a loyal Home Depot customer with an incentive which will never be rich enough to get them to go to Lowe's, and you actually create a negative brand experience where consumers feel like they're being bombarded from, a retailer that they're not loyal to. And that type of disallegiance or repulsion in some cases is a risk that many marketers don't want to take. And that's where they look at location-based marketing more around their core customer base. And they'll look at, the radius around their own stores rather than around competitor stores. There's definitely the competitive targeting happening, but based on some I think, early testing, and it will continue to be tested, and competitive targeting exists in every other medium, and this opens up another opportunity. But what we're hearing and seeing is that there is a bit of that psychological consumer psychology that is indicating to brands that it's not a slam dunk home run, that it needs to be done very selectively and with very informed decisions in order to make sure that it doesn't backfire.
Jonathan Treiber, ladies and gentlemen. He's the CEO of RevTrax. Go to RevTrax.com. That's RevTrax.com. Jonathan, thank you for coming on to Untether.tv, and thank you for allowing us to use this clip on This Week in Location-Based Marketing. You like that guy.
I love that guy. I love smart people who are living and breathing this stuff every day and understand the mind of the retailer.
Well, and he gets it. And everything that I said, I was like, so you're telling me that coupons are the best way to drive traffic? He's like, nope, Rob, that's not correct. And we did that. So everything I said, I was wrong. And that's what I love about it. It's a very humbling experience to sit with Jonathan. So, yeah. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, back at it, Rasif. Oh, this company called, I think augmented reality, has it finally hit its stride? Is this the year that AR becomes mainstream?
I think it's definitely a technology that's going mainstream this year, or by the end of next year for sure. Like into 2014. Yep. We're seeing it over and over again. Whether it's Flipper or SnapZap or Erasma or Metaio, we were talking about today. I think AR is huge. I think retailers are starting to embrace it as well. But this story is kind of interesting. So this comes from Metaio, which is a Munich, Germany-based company. And they've basically created a prototype for the world's first. This is actually a world's first. This isn't like
it's not BS.
It's not. Yeah. This is. Yeah. Anyways, I don't want to beat up on my friends at Joingo anymore. Then
yes.
I have to. But so a prototype for the first ever hands-free augmented automotive manual, like car manual. Okay, using Google Glass. So this is pretty cool because we all we bought cars, and you in the glove box you got that manual, and there's a problem, and then you start flipping the pages and you look for the stuff. But this is hands free. This is Google Glass, projected in front of you, whatever you need without touching anything. And the interesting thing about this for me, what I like about it, is this is marker free AR. So if you're familiar with AR from the technical side of things, you'll know that what you have to do is in traditional AR is you take the object, like the actual bricks and mortar static object or whatever it is, and you assign a marker to it, and then the AR app is looking for that marker, and when it sees that marker, then it creates the visual layer on top of it.
It's more like image recognition.
Yeah. Whereas this has no markers at all. Which is really cool because it means that you can do just about anything. And so applying this to a car manual, applying this to anything, I think is really interesting. So they're using some interesting 3D technology to do that. Obviously, they're using Google Glass technology to implement this and make this happen as one form factor. But this could be in the windshield. This could be anywhere going forward. So I like it. I don't know whether we can go mass market with something like this yet. But as a concept, as a prototype, I think it's very cool.
Yeah, I do as well. And I like form factor. I'm like, the glass is not it for me, especially when I'm like, if I have to fumble for the glass to be able to fix a car. I'm not often driving, and I don't like all the warnings and buzzes and distractions. But But when you start to think about the story we talked about the connected car, Rogers and Sprint and this whole internet connected car and diagnostics and remote diagnostics and the fact that most of our cars these days are supercomputers anyways, and now they're going to be on the internet, and now all of that stuff is going to be put up in the cloud, and your car is going to be basically a node, and all of that data is being fed. I don't know if you need augmented reality in order to be able to do this right now. I think that the car is going to become smart enough, and notifications are going to happen often enough that I don't think that I need that always on my glass, right? Or in a visual display anywhere. I just need alerts, like you said, like your tire pressure is low, go here, right? Yeah. Or your treads are low. Or your car is burning too much gasoline, something like that, right?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I 50% agree with you. I think the alerts are huge, and I think
which 50%?
We absolutely need those things. So I agree with that. But I think there's this evolving space where certain consumers are getting overwhelmed with the amount of stuff being pushed at them based on location. So I think there's this balance between the things that we want being pushed to us when it makes sense in context, balanced against our ability to retrieve or request or pull what we want when we want it as well, right? So, like that, in our discussion about at the Toronto event last night, we were talking about NFC, tied to digital screens where I tap the screen, that is a push retrieve when I need something, when I want something. There's no ability to push something to me in that, right? So I think there's a balance between that. I think there are times when we don't know what we don't know. We don't, it's not just that smart.
Yeah, and what I see it for example, when I blow a fuse in my car, right? I have to pull out the manual and I have to leaf through and then I have to find out where the fuse boxes are. And maybe there is an augmented play here that I can put on my phone and it tells me where the fuse box is and tells me what it is, because they are archaic, right? I don't even know what it is. So I think maybe there is a place. So maybe
I think it's just it's the form factor.
It's a form factor that I have a challenge with. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, if it was Samsung Gear sitting there, right, and it was built into that wearable device.
Yep.
And you could tap it; it could just pop up in front of you when you needed it. And it's not always in your face. Then okay, maybe.
It is, and I think that the idea that I'm going to put a Google Glass on just to get that is but
so we need projectors built into the wristbands.
We need something. It's just not Google Glass for me. That's all it is. But I believe that. So Metaio is an interesting company because they're not afraid to go and try these things, right? And that's what I appreciate about what this is.
And these are smart dudes. I mean, Thomas I met with him when I was in Munich last time, and these guys, they're on a path. They get it. They see a future in that, and they're not willing, and they're absolutely willing, I should say, to take those risks and go out and do these things. So kudos to them for that.
Oh, it's Metaio. Metaio launching the Google Glass-based car manual. Very cool.
All right.
So I put on the shoes that are in front of me, but I think this is a pretty cool technology, a cool idea. This is our fifth story. This is Footlocker using a kiosk. This is in New York City in their Times Square store. Big kiosk in the middle of the store that allows you to build these 574s, the Footlocker 574s, which is a custom-built shoe. It has all of this. It has materials, colors, thread, tread, everything that you need to build a shoe. And there's big screens, and you customize your shoe, and you build your own shoe. This is like the equivalent to basically the shoe version of the Canyoneros from Simpsons, right? Canyoneros. And it's actually pretty cool. These cost you can customize your shoe. It costs $140 to order them, and they arrive at your doorstep if you're in America in 6 to 10 days. That is pretty much. I don't know, press and play, and you get your own shoe. I like it.
It's awesome. So yeah, New Balance shoes, and the 48 quadrillion, 48 quadrillion combinations. All right, with this thing, right? That's how many factors are in here, and how unique your shoe can be. I like it, and I talked about this last night at the event as well. And the point that I was trying to make around this that I thought was really interesting is that we live in a society where individuality is interesting. People, want to have, a little bit something different than everybody else. And we live in this society, that's been described as a maker culture.
Right.
Right. So whether it's 3D printing or making your own shoe, I think this is a brand in Footlocker that recognizes that and says, you know what, we fight showrooming by creating an experience that's only available in the store. One, you can't do this anywhere else. You have to be in my store to do this. Two, we're jumping on this maker culture and we're saying, hey, come in here and create your shoe that you want, whatever it is. And 6 to 10 days delivery. I mean, amazing, right? And the price point, when you compare $140 to what you pay for some top-end Nike or whatever, anyways, it's not bad.
No, it's in line with it.
And it's what you want. So I love this stuff.
Yeah, this is great. So these are the New Balance 574s, and you can do this in Times Square in the Footlocker store. And if you're there, and take some photos, send us some photos. I think this is one of the coolest things. And if you made your shoes, I'd love to see them. I think that everybody's individual. I always lament the fact that everybody wears the same thing every day. There's no men's style anymore, right? Everybody just follows what Justin Timberlake's doing, and then they wear that, or Justin Bieber, the two Justins, JT or JB. And then I try to go out there and dress like Bruce Springsteen, and people laugh at me, right? So individuality, this is great. So you can build your own New Balance 574s at the Times Square Footlocker 46 quadrillion different mixes you can make, and they're $140 and delivered to you in 6 to 10 days. Unfortunately, only delivered in the US, not anywhere else, but that's bound to come. All right, our last story, Asif. I think this is called iQuant, right? Like quantify, yes, iQuant.
iQuant. Right.
They raised a little bit of money, but I tried it on Untether. So what is it? Why is it significant? Then we'll talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we'll get the money out of the way. So they raised $650,000 from Ballpark Ventures and Robin McIlvini, or I don't know how to say that name. Totally bastardized his last name. I apologize, Robin. Anyways, $650,000. So iQuant is a company that's been working online for a while now, and basically, they look at websites and they analyze, the content on the website, and are able to report on how to optimize that website based on some algorithms that they have on where people are looking, where the focal points of the website are, and things of that nature. And so this new money is that they think they can take these algorithms, this technology, and apply this to the bricks and mortar world, to media outside of online websites. So digital signage, digital out of home, billboards, so a whole bunch of things where they think they can apply this. And so that's what the money's for, so they can kind of go out and investigate and prototype ways to apply these algorithms outside of the online world.
I'm fascinated by this because all they do is they take, best practices. They take a whole bunch of data. They take basically a photo. Like if you put your URL in there, they take a photo of it, of your website, and then in minutes they're going to apply best practices and all the data that they know, and they're going to tell you where people are focusing on your website. And so what you're seeing right now, if you're watching this, is you're seeing Untether.tv in two different ways, where people are focusing on the website itself. And it's supposed to tell you exactly where you should be placing things. And I think that from a real life standpoint, like if you take a picture of your store out in the bricks and mortar world, it'll help with display. It'll help with positioning of the open sign, the numbers, or the hours of operation. Like this, it's so fascinating that they can do this.
If you take this stuff now and then you combine it with some of the indoor analytics stuff that we talk about every week on the show, right, that becomes really interesting because all that data around indoor location, around traffic flow patterns and dwell time and all that stuff, combined with and analyzing the shelf display and what it looks like and how to optimize that. Wow, I mean, just the ability to optimize performance and potential sales. I mean, it's huge.
I wonder if retail outlets, grocery stores in particular, are really interested in finding out the truth. Like, is eye level really where people are focusing? And because that's the prime location, right? So I wonder if this is something that, I'd love to know, is that once and for all, there's anecdotal evidence, but if you could actually implement this and find out, is that the truth, then once and for all we can put that to rest, and once and for all we can decide where to put merchandise and for optimum selling and exposure. That's very cool.
Awesome. So there you go. iQuant.
iQuant. That's EYEQuant QUANT.com. EYEQUANT.com. I'm fascinated. This is so cool. Love that story. Loved all these stories. No rants, no raving, no anger, man. What's going on, Asif? Turning over a new leaf.
Hey, man, this is what I found this week, man. That's what I got for you. I can't. I don't make this stuff up. They're just good stories.
They're good stories, and those were great. 6 great stories. A great guest in Jonathan Treiber, who is the CEO of RevTrax. Of course, our app of the week was Memoir at yourmemoir.com, and our Mobile Minute. Mobile payments throughout the course of a day with Chuck Martin. Last thing, our resource of the week. And you know what? I don't know if you heard this, buddy. I don't know if you've heard this, but mobile commerce is growing.
Really?
Oh, like, stop the presses. Stop the presses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't give them credit for this title. This title sucks. I just have to say it. So there's my little rant for the week. But the infographic and some of the data in this stuff is pretty interesting.
Yes.
So coming to us from a company called Sanderson IT Software and Services. I'm not sure where these guys are based. Are they UK based?
They're UK based, as far as I can tell. Yes. Yeah.
UK based. Yeah. So this is UK data primarily, and so there's some interesting stuff in here. I mean, they're looking at internet usage. They're looking at mobile phones and spend as far as online or spend. They're $1 trillion in e-spend in 2013. Expected to be $2 trillion by 2018.
That's going to be. That's too long. That's too long.
That's big numbers, man.
But it's not going to take 5 years to get to that point.
No,
I'm just saying, like by 2015, yeah. Like I think it's going to accelerate faster than anything that we've seen before. But yes,
well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So one thing I liked about this, and I always love studies where you actually have data on specific brands.
Yes.
And so they've got a couple of those in here. They've got John Lewis, which is a big retailer in the UK, has seen a 70% increase year on year in mobile visitors to its website. That's huge. 70% in 1 year. They've got eBay data in here. 1/3 of every transaction on eBay involves a mobile, and the company is predicting £13 billion worth of sales will be made on mobiles by the end of 2013. I mean, these are big numbers. So yeah, it's growing. Here's some specific data around it. So take a look at that, especially if you're in the UK. Any other stats that stood out for you?
Well, aside from, I'm like, where's the Amazon stat? You got your eBay stat. I want my Amazon stat.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know. The only thing that stuck out for me really is we talk about the simple steps that retailers can take in order to be able to optimize for mobile and location and local search. And, in the UK, they say 22% of the top 50 online retailers aren't optimized or aren't mobile optimized. And those are the top 50 online retailers. And I'm thinking that you think about all the other retailers, same story. The number will increase at that point. And then 1 in 10 are optimized, or UK retailers are optimized for tablets. And when you start to think about the implications of that, this is the low-hanging fruit, folks. If you're not doing this properly, if you're not optimizing for these different platforms in the way that you should be optimizing for them, it's going to affect your Google ranking. It's going to affect your transactions and your churn and your revenue. So, and people always ask they ask me, it's overwhelming. Where do I start? And I always say, start with the most basic of things. Get the basic thing done, your mobile website, so that you come up when people are doing local searches. And I'm still shocked that we're talking about this because we sound like broken records. We've been talking about it for years. Just do this one thing for us, please.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and the last stat that's in there too, the Google one is I think telling. I mean, 40% of users have turned to a competitor's site after a bad mobile experience or a lack of a mobile optimized website, might be a better way to put it. So, I mean, if you don't have your site optimized for mobile and people are coming to you and they're not going to go take the time to go to your regular website when they get home. They're just going to go to your competition.
Yep.
Simple as that.
So that's your fault if you're doing this wrong. It's your fault. How does that feel? Yeah. When you board up your window and you put the close sign for the last time and you lock the door and you walk away without the keys and you say, wow, that was a good try. No, it wasn't. Don't go out of business.
Don't do it.
All right. So that's the resource. The key takeaways, and this is a really interesting infographic. Mobile commerce is growing, and we know that. Terrible name, but Sanderson IT Software and Services. It's available on the LBMA's website. Under
Yes.
research?
Yes, under research, yeah.
And of course, it will link it up. It'll be a direct link to that link. But if you go to untether.tv, and this is episode number 150, you'll see in the show notes, and it'll take you to thelbmay.com/research. So just go to the LBMay.
Awesome.
All right, that is it, man. Episode number 150 in the books. I'm starting to get used to this show now. 150
That's
episodes
it.
in.
It's fine. We're finally settling in.
Settling in, getting a good voice. I think that we playing our characters well. I think that this is good. 150 episodes is a long run for. But I think we're miles away from like MASH or Friends, right? In the number of episodes. Cheers. Yeah. So we'll get there. But we'd love some feedback from you. How have we been doing in our first 150 episodes? You can find me on Twitter at Rob Woodbridge. You can find Asif at Asif R. Khan. I'm Rob at Untether.tv. He is Asif at thelbma.com. You know now how to reach us. There's no excuses. If you've enjoyed a single one of these 150 episodes, we would really love it if you went in and told us. By doing so in the iTunes store, wherever you get these great podcasts, give us a little bit of a star rating, little comment. We'll read it out here. We love you so much. And don't keep this a secret. There are people out there who need this information. Please share it with them. That's my plea.
All right.
All right, we'll be back next week for episode number 151 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. Have a safe week, everybody.
All right.
Yard long, 2 lanes wide, 65 tons of American pride. Canyonero, top of the line in utility sports. Unexplained fires are a matter for the courts. Canyonero. She blinds everybody with a super high beam. She's a squirrel squasher, deer smacking driving machine. Canyonero. Canyonero.